Hey everyone, I'm Adin Walls. I have a content creation business here in the garden route of South Africa, and today we're going to talk about, can I trust influencers? And I'm going to jump in immediately and say the reason influencers have a bad name are the Instagram travel influencers with the arms in the air and the drone flying past in the bikini, because what those people do is they promise the world and all they do is offer pretty photos, but they don't actually give you anything in return. They're actually just building their accounts and building their modeling career or whatever they're trying to do. So those are the guys that have given this whole thing a bad name. But I will admit there are people in the markets that my little marketing brain goes, that's not going to work. That's not going to help people with their businesses. And then you look at the data, and you realize that they are actually having an impact. And I'm going to just touch on a few sort of red flags and things you should look for an influencer that's actually having an impact for a business's marketing. So in my notes here, firstly, there's no cookie cutter thing that I can give you, a list of things that you can look at that is going to tell you if an influencer is helping a business. But here are a few guidelines. Firstly, who's working with this influencer, and then reach out to those people. So if you see a business on their page or the page that they're on busy promoting, reach out to that business and say, did this have any impact on your marketing? But therein lies another little trick, is you need to be careful that the people that you've reached out to, the business that you've reached out to. I'm going to use an example just because they're so big they won't care that I'm talking about them, is Mercedes-Benz. Let's say, for instance, you got through to Germany, the head office of Mercedes-Benz, and you say, did this influencer help you? That business is so big and has such a big corporate marketing budget that you might get through to someone at the office that literally doesn't care. All they care about is that they spent their marketing budget for the year and they got pretty photos of their cars. So you need to be careful who you've gotten through to and kind of gauge, does this person actually care for the marketing, or they're just spending a marketing budget? So there's another little tip. And then another thing to check is, has that specific, let's say for instance they did a collaboration post and that particular post has got lots of views and nothing else does. Let's say for instance they posted 3 posts and only one got a lot of views. Either that one got virality and they threw 3 at the wall and 1 stuck, or they put a marketing budget behind the one video and none of them actually did anything for the business. So that's a little thing just to check and see if you can see whether maybe they just used an ad to boost that one video. That's another little trick. No shame in that, but just if you're after organic reach from that influencer, that's something to check. And then just results. Are you seeing results from this influencer? Most of these influencers are offering, at a premium, a high rates. They're charging a lot of money. And if they are charging a lot of money, you need to demand results. You need to see the views. You need to see the return on investment, that people are actually calling and you're making some money. So if they are charging a huge premium, that's what you want to see. However, if they're just someone who says, give me a free stay at your B&B and we'll give you beautiful content, that's, to me, is a great deal. And I think that's also sometimes where influencers get a bad name, when people are expecting the world, but they got it for free. So that's another thing to check in on. So yep, what do you want? What results do you want? And not all influencers are made equal.